Yo, yo, it's your boy ZG. Welcome back to a very special episode of the Zach Smackz Show today. We got a very good one for you guys. We're going to be having Jonnu Smith, Miami Dolphin, former tight end. Unfortunately, he's now with Pittsburgh, but we loved him here for our 1 year. First Pro Bowl tight end selection, God knows how long. So we're going to have him on the show. But before we get right into it, going to introduce Kahari.
Hey, you guys already know what it is. It's your boy Kahari. It's a privilege to be on this podcast. Love you, ZG.
Love you, brother. And we got a special guest today. We have Bud on the show today.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Bud. Got asked to be on the podcast by Zach and Kahari here. Known each other for a while. All love sports, so it's kind of cool to be able to hop on here and be able to chop it up a little bit today.
Absolutely, man. Looking to get right into it. So we got a very good one. As I said, we got Jonnu Smith on there today. So going to be going over a little bit of his production before we get him onto the show. So I'll let Bud take it away with some stats.
So a cool thing with Jonnu, very underrated guy coming out of high school. Went to a school in FIU in Miami. Had one scholarship offer coming out, one of those, Cinderella stories that, have all the odds against him and been able to come out and produce at every single level from FIU all the way to getting drafted by the Titans. This guy, it speaks for himself. He's sitting behind a guy, Delaney Walker, who was an absolute menace for the Tennessee Titans. Sat behind him for a while. Unfortunately, he had some injuries and stuff like that happen. Gave Jonnu a chance to be able to step on the field. Produced. Honestly think he had some Pro Bowl years in Tennessee, but as a young guy, obviously didn't get that opportunity. But looking at the Tennessee Titans, he had 18 receptions, 157 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 2018, we're going up a little bit more to 20 receptions and 258 receiving yards. This guy just kept producing. When he was told to get on the field, he did his thing. And I think now that, he's found a bunch of different teams, but they've used him differently, and I think the Dolphins actually used him in a really good way last season. He's like a Swiss Army knife. You guys have watched. You guys are Dolphin fans as well. I know lifelong Dolphin fans. Tell me what you guys think about it.
Dude, he was so productive for us last year, and I'm sure Kahari would say the same thing. We threw him the ball, the offense was moving. You had games where I remember one game vividly, we didn't throw him the ball until the fourth quarter. He caught 5 balls that drive and won us the game with a touchdown.
Correct.
So he was extremely dominant for us. So it sucks to see him go for sure. But anytime he was involved in the offense, we had a chance to win the game.
Right. He went that whole entire game against the Jets. I don't think you're right. He said didn't touch the ball till overtime.
Touch the ball, yeah.
Gets into overtime. I think he got 3 straight passes. I could be wrong.
Won us the game.
Ended up winning the game. You don't give a guy like that the ball till the end of the game. That just shows me something's wrong. I don't know if it's at the offensive level. I think Mike McDaniel's a really good offensive coordinator. But I think when you have a guy like that produces like that all season long and you don't give him the ball till the overtime. But when it mattered, he made it happen.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, that's for sure. Listen, at the end of the day, I enjoyed having Jonnu on the team. I look back to big-time names that I shouldn't even say big-time, but names that we had, like they were household Dolphin names for tight end position. You look back at a Charles Clay back in the day.
Yeah.
You look back at an Anthony Fasano. But Jonnu Smith definitely came in, and he definitely left his mark as far as the Miami Dolphins franchise history goes. And it's a bummer to see him leave. Obviously, I don't know what happens in those negotiation or those contract conversations. I'm not present for them. But as a fan, I would have loved to see him stay. He embraced the culture right away. He embraced Tua as the quarterback. He embraced the team. The guy even now have departed from Miami. Still hasn't. I haven't heard him say one negative comment.
No.
With multiple interviews that he's done, and he just carries himself so gracefully. So I am sad to see him go, but I do wish him the best. I hope he's very productive over in Pittsburgh. And hey, crazy things happen in the NFL.
For sure.
What if he ends up back on the Dolphins? You never know.
He is a team guy. I've never heard anything bad said about him. Honestly, personally, I got to share a locker room back with in college with him. Probably one of the best teammates I've ever had. One of the most willing to sacrifice for the team. When the ball's thrown his way, he makes it happen. Not selfish at all. I've never heard a bad thing said about Jonnu Smith, and everybody that meets him, they always have something good to say about him. But if you look at the statistics based off Miami Dolphin tight end to piggyback off that, Kahari, the receptions went up over the years, and I think the second best was Mike Gesicki.
Correct.
Who's actually been producing in Cincinnati last year. He had a really good year. But I think just different styles in tight ends over the years. You have a Fasano who's a big guy who can block, can catch a flat route, can catch it in the red zone. Jonnu's more of a, he can be a deep threat. He can line up in the backfield. He can line up out wide. he can do everything. And it does suck to see him go, especially being from down in this area. He's from Ocala, but he's originally from Philly. But to come down to South Florida, an area where he trains in the off season, is pretty cool to be able to be around home. But he gets to go live with Aaron Rodgers and do his last go around, which is pretty cool.
Dude, without a doubt. And, just to piggyback off what you guys are saying here. So I pulled up 4 tight ends that were somewhat competitive. Believe it or not, Anthony Fasano's not even on this list.
Wow.
But obviously we knew what he did.
Right.
He was a blocker too. He was more than just a receiving tight end like Jonnu Smith. But we got Randy McMichael.
That was the name I was going to mention to you, by the way. I have his jersey still. Yep. Randy McMichael. Sorry.
2004, 791 yards, 4 touchdowns. Then you have Charles Clay, who we mentioned. 69 receptions, 6 touchdowns in 2013. We have Gesicki. In 2020, he had a great year for us, 6 touchdowns. Then you have Jonnu Smith, 88 receptions, 884 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Best single season of a tight end in franchise history.
And politically was picked after Travis Kelce to go to the Pro Bowl last year, who didn't have those type of statistics. But that's another topic.
It's wild, dude. I mean, his production speaks for itself. So we're so glad to have him on here today and talk more about with him of how everything went down. Not too crazy, but how everything went down with him as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said earlier, it's just you don't know those conversations that go behind closed doors, but you would just have hoped to see him still in a Miami Dolphin uniform. It is what it is moving forward, but I can't wait to give him props on what a great season he had last year as far as accomplishments goes. I remember talking to Bud, because I know Bud has that relationship with him, early in the year. And I was like, dude, why are we not utilizing Jonnu? Because if you look back at the first few games, the guy wasn't really getting productivity. It wasn't necessarily till Tua went down, essentially, and then no one knew how to utilize Waddle and Tyreek, that they were Tyler Huntley used him as a safety blanket.
Yeah.
Skylar Thompson was trying to figure that out as well.
Yeah.
But for the most,
well.
Right?
Oh, now he's back with them.
Right.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. There's
That's
a lot
the
of
NFL business.
a lot of affiliates of Pittsburgh and Miami. But as I was saying, though, Tua came back healthy, and he figured out that Jonnu was his safety blanket. I mean, as far as a closer, Jonnu helped win us the. I think
You
it was
could tell
the
in
Jets game.
Cleveland game.
The Cleveland game.
Cleveland, yep.
The Jets game. He was.
And then he broke the record against the Jets in MetLife last game of the season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
And so, like I said, it hurts to see him go, but I'm looking forward to speaking with him a little bit later, just moving forward, what his goals are. So,
I think we have him joining here now. I think he's hopping on the link.
He's hopping on right now.
Yeah.
Before he hops on, Bud, any cool story you can share with us back in college with him?
Being with a guy that, like I said, had 1 scholarship offer. I was pretty similar, in the recruiting world, and you get that opportunity to go do something and come down here to Miami to a school like FIU, who, has had some guys like T.Y. Hilton and, some household names, but more of a smaller school where you can go put a stamp on history a little bit and break some records there, to being a guy that got invited to the Reese's Senior Bowl coming out of college, got invited to the Combine. Then I'm pretty sure, I think he was the 100th overall pick to the Tennessee Titans. Pretty cool. And I saw this interview the other day from Overtime that his first jersey was an Eddie George jersey, and shockingly gets drafted to the Tennessee Titans. And pretty cool story. But I have so many stories. I've been friends with this guy for over a decade, and he's one of the best humans I know. He's a groomsman in my wedding. Just an overall great human. And, we're Panther fans. This last year, he got to kind of indulge in our world. He got to hit the drum at a playoff game.
Love that.
And, walking off from there, 2 kids asked him for a picture, and he wasn't too big time for them. He stopped, and he took a picture with them and asked them how their day was, and that's just the type of guy he is.
Really speaks to his character. That's important.
I think he's here. I think we have him on that right now.
There he is. Jonnu Smith.
Yo.
Sir, what's up, baby?
Long time no see.
Long time no see. Like we wasn't just working out an hour ago. What's up, though, Chad?
My arm's shot.
You good, man? I appreciate y'all boys having me on, man. What's up?
Thanks for joining us, brother. We're gonna start from the beginning here a little bit, because I was just giving them a little rundown about Jonnu Smith's story, coming from Philly. Same streets as his favorite rapper Meek Mill. Moved down to Ocala. and where we started our friendship journey in FIU. So give us a little rundown on your path, on how you got to where you're at right now, brother.
No doubt, no doubt. I got you, man. So Philadelphia, born and raised. You know what I'm saying, man? Grew up. 5 siblings, man. I'm the youngest of 6. You know what I'm saying? He's growing up in the inner city. My mom, you know, my father actually passed away when I was 5 years old, so my mom was left alone to raise all 6 of us. And she a trooper, you know what I'm saying?
She's the
Strongest woman I
best.
know, man. Strongest woman I know, and she really took that father role on as well when my father passed. And so, you know, having to raise 6 kids, growing up in the inner city, that ain't no easy route. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
my mom put her hard hat on, man, and then complained. She put her faith in the Lord, man, and did as best she could for us. You know what I'm saying? And she did a hell of a job. And so for me, um, you know, growing up, obviously, man, football was all from the first moment I saw the game at the age of 5. I fell in love with it, and that was always what I knew would be my vehicle throughout life. Whether it be, uh, I knew I was going to have some involvement with the game for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Obviously, wanted to be as a player. You know what I'm saying? Which I'm fortunate enough to say that I made it as a player. You know what I mean? But my involvement with the game was it was destined. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so growing up in Philly, you know, that was kind of my way of maneuvering throughout all of the negativity that was going on, and just, you know, keeping that as my forefront. And by the age of 14, a lot of things had went south for my family dynamic, and my mom felt it was best for me to move to Ocala, Florida. And that's kind of where my football journey took off. I actually didn't even play high school football in Philly. I left after my freshman year. My first year of high school football was my sophomore year in Florida. And you know, I had one scholarship offer coming out. Man, I was an undersized tight end, so I was always a little
It only takes
underrated.
one.
I only take one, baby, and that's what me and Bud crossed paths, man. That's my brother to this day. And, you know, went to FIU and broke all kinds of records. Went and got drafted 3rd round, 100th pick overall, and the rest is history.
Right.
I'm here now.
So getting into that, you get into the Reese's Senior Bowl, you get into the Combine. You have one of the best managers in the game in Max Schilling. I'll go ahead and say that right now. That's first and foremost. That's first and foremost.
Riding around doing this thing, yes, sir. Yes,
And that
sir.
shows you how friendship is, man. You got Jeremiah McKinnon back there in the back seat, college teammates.
You see Pinchy in the back, man.
Getting into the FIU days, man. You know, you're starting with Ron Turner. You're one of the early guys in his recruiting class that got to be a starter, I think, as a freshman, if I'm not mistaken. Break a bunch of records. You go to the Reese's Senior Bowl. You go to the NFL Combine. Let's talk about that experience and how that kind of shaped you into the business world, because there was no NIL. There was none of that type of money when we were in college. You get sent to the Combine. You get sent to the Reese's Senior Bowl. You're now in the business world. Tell me how that transition and how you've kind of grown up in the NFL over the years from your rookie contract to where you're at now.
Right. No, it's a different space for sure. Obviously now, you know, guys that's playing, you know, big time college ball. What is it? So you got right now, you got all of the conferences broke up.
Well,
It's,
now everybody's in the SEC. There is
Group
no
of
such
5.
thing as the Pac-12. It's
You
unreal.
got Group of 5, and then, you know, the conference that's after that. You know, but the whole dynamic has changed. And so, you know, a lot of kids coming out when I came out, right? Like, we kind of had to learn finances
Right.
along the path of, you know, our early years in the league. And you make some mistakes early on, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, you really don't get that financial education, you know.
What would
maybe
you tell
going into
those high school kids coming out right now that are getting these big paydays before they even get into college?
Right.
What would you
Well,
tell? What would
obviously,
you tell
man,
them to keep their head on straight?
a big thing, a big thing to it is surrounding yourself with the right people. And like you alluded to earlier, you know, I got Max in to the left of me. You know, he's been my manager. You know, kind of wearing hats in all different facets, but just him introducing me, and you know, his family became my family, and that family being in finances, and me kind of learning that way. But you know, not everybody got that leisure. You know what I mean? So for me, That was kind of my path. But there are a lot of guys who are talented. There are a lot of kids who are talented who go and have opportunities that, are opportunities of a lifetime, and they're
Right.
going to have people coming at them, you know what I mean? And trying to take advantage of them in so many different ways. So you got to surround yourself with the right people.
Right.
Now you can change the dynamic of your family and your whole entire life if you go Division 1, just by going Division 1. It's different now. You know what I'm saying? So these kids can get educated a lot earlier on it and protect yourself, man. Listen, it's going to be a time to have fun, to party. I like NIL, you know what I mean, and there's some things I don't like about NIL. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm for it. Don't get me wrong. I'm for the player always, earning his dollar, because obviously I understand that we play such a physical game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, man, you may have only 2-3 years of playing at a high level if that's college, and then that could be it. Not everybody's promised the next level.
That's right.
So while you securing as much money, while you got the opportunity, right, while you earning all of this income now, secure as much of it as you can. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I know a lot of kids are, banking on going to the league and got big dreams and wishes of going to the league, man. And that's great. Keep having that dream. But sometimes having that money at a young age can kind of take that chip off your shoulder.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was my upside. That's what I had on my side. I always had a chip. I was always underrated, always overlooked. And then by the time I didn't graduate college, but my senior year in college, I was dead broke. I had nothing to my name.
We
You know what
remember
I'm
those
saying?
days.
And I wanted, and that was, now that I look back at it, I'd rather have it that way because
Yeah.
it made me that much hungry. You
So,
know what I'm saying? You remember them days, man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to get shoes from you.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I
You
was
remember them days,
I was
man?
talking about that the other day. Like, how long you know Jonnu? I'm like, well, let's see. His shoe closet's way more than I can even dream
Bud
of.
was tossing me kicks. Bud, see, for y'all who don't know, Bud had them kicks, man. He had runs, the Rocher runs. When the Rocher runs was hot,
Yup.
Bud
Every
had 'em,
color.
you know what I'm saying? He was tossing me kicks like they was nothing. Shout out to Bud, man.
That's my
for
boy,
real.
man. I'm gonna kick it over to my boys Zach and Kahari. They're two very heartbroken Dolphin fans, and this is probably the last time I'm gonna wear this Jonnu Smith Dolphin jersey because I got to jump into a Steelers one now. I need a Steelers one now.
You gotta rep it.
I rep every era, but right now we're up in Steel City. But I'm gonna shoot it over to Zach here. He's got a few questions for you.
Jonnu, thank you so much for being here today, bro. Really,
Zach,
really
what's up,
appreciate it.
champ?
Yeah, it was great to see you today, in person like that, catching those balls and running those routes. It's incredible to see, man, you up close.
No doubt, my God.
Thank you so much for being here. Just a question for you here. Like, I know your tenure was short with Miami, but what would you say your favorite memory of last season was playing with the Dolphins?
Easily the New York Jets game. That was easily. Just because it was a lot. It was kind of the whole story behind it, like me not getting, much action throughout the entire game. I was targeted one time until like the third quarter, and we was actually in that game, man, and it came down to the wire, fourth quarter, big field goal to send us into overtime, and my number got called, and I ain't flinched. You know what I'm saying? I ain't get frustrated. I kept my poise, and obviously I could have won about it. A lot of guys could have won about it another way. Like, I'm hot leading up to that game, and I'm not targeted until the third quarter. I could be on the sideline having a fit, or I could lock in being pro and wait till my number called, and that's what I did. And one play turned into two plays, and it turned into a walk-off game winner.
Yeah, it was
And so
incredible.
that game was super emotional for me because, it was basically, that game was based on a foundation that I basically lived my life every day, and that stayed down till you come up. You know what I'm saying? And I just kept my head down, kept grinding, stayed humble about the process, and it came to fruition. And I saw myself making that play. You know what I'm saying? I saw myself making that play, man. And, when you get that opportunity, you got to seize it. And that was like, that moment, because that was actually a big win too, because, that kept our playoff hopes alive. And obviously it was a division opponent. And so it was huge for us, man. It was a great feeling in the locker room. So that's definitely the most memorable.
Trust me, bro. I was screaming at my TV. So I was freaking the fuck out. So it was amazing. And I got one more. I got one more for you, Jonnu, before I throw it to Kahari. So put this the best way possible. Do you find it a little strange that, being the most productive tight end that we've ever had in franchise history, ultimately couldn't come to a deal with you?
Yeah, listen, that's all for me right now, how I'm feeling today, July 7th, that's all water under the bridge. I'm excited to be a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Yeah,
For sure.
I'm excited to get to work up there. However, I'm gonna be transparent with you, and the process was frustrating. During this, I'll say, the last half a year, I guess so. Starting in January, trying to get this thing worked out and thinking I'm gonna be a Dolphin, and until I retire, and you got all of these, dreams and admirations of, basically, Miami is home for me, and so raising my family here, my wife, my kids, this being our backyard, this being home forever for us, and us building our life and our future here. You obviously want to retire there. God had a different plan for me, man, and I'm like I said, I'm excited to be a Steeler.
and you have the #1 franchise flag football team probably in the state.
We growing, baby. We growing.
Yeah.
Listen, we got a long way to go, and that's another thing. Obviously, man, it was a lot. This was my backyard, so it was a lot of things that I was involved in the community. That I was excited on building on. Obviously, going to Pittsburgh, kind of put a halt in that. But we still pushing everything in the community, man. No matter where we at, you know what I'm saying. We always going to impact the community, and we gotta get you out there, man. You might have to take my position over as OC head coach, man.
Might have to.
We might have to get you out there, champ.
Calling the big guns, me and Max might have to handle that. We're gonna kick it over to Kahari.
Hey, Jonnu, how you doing, brother?
My guy, how we doing, champ?
Hey, I'm doing lovely. I'm blessed, brother. I'm blessed. I like what you said.
Likewise.
I like what you said. You said, obviously God had other intentions for you. I'm a big believer as well, brother. And, as Jeremiah 29:11 says, for I know I have the plans for you. Obviously, ultimately,
Peace and not of evil, absolutely.
amen. At the end of the day, you thought that you were going to retire as a Dolphin, but going forward, knowing what you know now and the way that your path has kind of shifted, because obviously that's what God had intended for you. What future goals, moving forward in your career do you see?
I want to be a Super Bowl champion, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the ultimate goal.
Amen.
Playing this game going on 9 years. That's at the top of my list, is to be a Super Bowl champion. That's something that that could never be taken away from you. And that's the reason why you get into this game is to be the greatest. It's a team game, and that's the one. I've won individual accolades and broken records, and made my first Pro Bowl. You know what I mean? And those are all great. But to be able to hold that Lombardi at the end of the day, man, that's what we get into it for. And that's what I'm setting my eyes on, man. That's what my sight is on right now.
I appreciate that, family. I appreciate you being just so transparent as far as what your goals are, and it's such an honor and a privilege to sit here and talk to you. Like I said, I was bummed out. Like Bud isn't he ain't capping when he said we really wanted you to be here long term, but
Yes.
hey, God had other intentions. God had other
Absolutely,
intentions
man.
for
Listen,
you.
it's the whole city of Miami know it's love always. Anytime they see me, man, and this past year, I've been embraced by the city like no other, man. And I'm always appreciate that, you know what I'm saying, and appreciate the memories. And Miami is always gonna be my home, you know what I'm saying? And that's where I train at in the off season. This is my kids, go to school all year round, and this home, baby. So I'm always gonna be always gonna have the Miami roots deep in me.
Hey, at the end of the day, I appreciate you, and I look forward to watching the Florida Panthers with you. I heard we all gonna go to a game together. We're gonna be in a suite.
Oh yeah. Florida Panthers right now, man, is holding the city down with these championships. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Florida Panthers.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, without a doubt. And before I throw it back to Bud, just a really good question here. How does it feel to be now that you're a Pittsburgh Steeler, part of such a historic franchise, and now be coached by one of the greatest coaches in NFL history? On top of that, playing with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, you check all the boxes. What more you want?
It's
Right.
incredible, man.
What more do you want? You basically check all the boxes. You're going up there, like you said, to a historic franchise with a historic coach, with a historic QB. I mean, you know what I'm saying? If God ain't had his hands on that, you know what I mean, man? So
Yeah.
to be in that position, I'm humbled, I'm honored, I'm ready to get up there and get to work. Buzz see me out there today.
That's right. Every day.
My guy always come through, man, when I want to get the work in. And you know what I'm saying, and he know I'm a worker, and I know he a worker. So I'm excited to get up there, man, and stop talking about it and just go out there and ball.
Yeah,
You know
bro.
what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
I wish you the best of luck, Jonnu. I wish you the best of luck, bro. And
man, appreciate
I'm rooting
man.
for you in the rest of your career. And it was amazing to have you here this past year, man. If you could know how big of a fan I am, this is my jersey, Zach Thomas. I'm named after Zach Thomas, bro. I'm at every game.
Yes, sir.
Huge fan.
Yes, sir.
So it was incredible
well.
to see you this morning and to have you on the show today.
Likewise, bro.
I'm going to end one more question with you, Jonnu, because me and you have talked about it. Aaron Rodgers is obviously my GOAT. He's the guy that when I was playing quarterback, I watched all his film and tried to emulate my game as much as I could off of a guy that's that talented. But
listen,
yes,
I got a question for you though, dog.
Talk to
I don't
me.
think I ever asked you this.
Talk to me.
Before we get out of here, and I'm gonna answer your question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before we get out of here, I just so I don't forget. You got to tell me your top 5 all-time QB.
Top 5 of all time.
Yeah, I'm gonna put you on the spot real quick.
There we go.
All right.
I love it.
So mine, I'm biased. Aaron Rodgers, all around talent, arm wise, and all that stuff. I'm going Aaron Rodgers 1. That's
order,
my
in
GOAT.
order,
I'm
in
going
order,
1. He's
in
1.
order.
He's 1. Okay, he's my 1. I'm also a Brett Favre guy. Now, McKinnon knows me. I'll throw the ball, and I threw it as much as I could. If I could throw 60 times a game, I would. He threw a lot of picks. I'm not going to lie to you. Brett Favre threw a lot of picks. But I'm that type of guy. I love Brett Favre.
Shoot.
I'm not going to put him at 2. I'm going to respect Brady. I'm going to put Brady at 2 with the Super Bowls. Okay?
Brady 2.
I was a very big Troy Aikman guy. Loved him. He was. I love Troy Aikman. You got to go Joe Montana.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, for
This list
you
crazy.
to be born in the 90s, bro, I respect your list, dog.
I got to go old school guys. You got to respect them.
I respect your list, bro.
You got to respect them.
That millennium, okay.
But honestly, like we talked about today, or we talked yesterday when we were recovering, there's a different era in training from the 70s, 80s, 90s to today. The technology is insane. The amount of money you guys use to put into your bodies every year in the offseason to be able to make it through those brutal games throughout the season. It takes a lot, and it's not easy. I think you got to respect those guys back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s that went through that gritty time of playing football.
That's 3. That was when they had 3 days.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
And our freshman year of college was the last year we ever had 2 days.
Yeah.
That was the last year.
Yeah. And the second practice wasn't even padded.
Yeah.
It wasn't even padded.
I think Zach's
And
got
that was
it.
a grind.
Did you hit 5 though?
I think I missed my 5th.
You did miss your 5th. Who's your 5th?
I feel like everybody wants me to say Peyton Manning, but I'm not going to do
What
it.
about Dan Marino?
I think Dan Marino is the best quarterback that's never won a Super Bowl. Of
course.
That's my best. I'd say that to everybody. He is one of the biggest gunslingers I've ever seen. Everybody makes fun of me for never putting air on my deep ball. I never put air on it because that's the type of quarterback he was. Zip it to where you wanted to get the ball to. I respect Dan Marino.
I like it. I like it.
And Jonnu's known me a long time.
It's a vintage, respectable list.
Correct.
I like it.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. It's not everybody's fan favorite.
By the way, shout out First Dude Pressure Washing.
My dog.
Best pressure washing in South Florida. Get right, man.
That's
Tap
my boy.
in. You already know what's going on.
First class. First class.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I give a shout out to my business partner Terry Kirby, who's an ex-Dolphin as well. That's what we do.
Shout out
You
Terry
had a question
Kirby.
for me though, Champ. What's up?
So going with real quick for me, and then we'll kick it to Zach in closing here. So Aaron Rodgers, you're playing with my favorite quarterback of all time. This is a quarterback, and not to discredit any other quarterback you've ever played with. You played with some dogs. You played with Tua. You've played with Marcus Mariota. You've played with Mac Jones. You played with some guys, but this guy keeps people accountable. I think the work ethic in this room is going to be something you've never seen. I think everybody's going to be on your level. You got a guy like DK Metcalf coming in there. You have a solid tight end room. You have Tomlin, who's never had a losing season as a Pittsburgh Steelers head coach. The status quo is there, and the where you're supposed to be is there. How do you feel about going into an organization that is arguably a top 5 NFL franchise and go play there to go get that Super Bowl that you want?
You know the old saying, the stars are aligned. and I said this earlier, what more can I ask for?
Yeah.
As a football head, as a football junkie, I'm in the best possible situation, that any football junkie would want to be. You know what I mean? with a winning organization, Hall of Fame quarterback, Hall of Fame coach with Mike T. All types of ballers on both sides of the ball.
Don't forget about Ramsey, Jonnu.
You got J-Ram coming over there, man, and ready to play every single position on defense. You know what I'm saying? So we got everything we need, man. We geared up. We ready to hit the ground rolling. And like I said, Bud, to answer your question, man, I couldn't be more ecstatic for this opportunity to be a Steeler at this time of my career, and go in there and help trailblaze this organization to a championship, bro.
That's just like us texting back and forth, man. Through this whole entire situation, nobody really knew you were even going through it, in the offseason. But we've always texted each other and ended with God's got it.
And I appreciate you. I appreciate you for always checking in, bro. You one of my realest homies, bro. You know what I'm saying? Always there for me, man. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you always.
I appreciate you, bro, and I'm proud of you. I'm going to kick it over to Zach in closing. I love you. Thanks for joining us, Bubba.
Love you too, brother.
That's it for me, Jonnu. I don't got anything else. I wish you the best of luck, man. I'm going to be rooting for you, like I said, the rest of your career. And it was so great to have you for that year, man. Hopefully we can all kick it sometime.
Y'all boys.
And the Zach Smackz podcast will be going to Pittsburgh for a game.
Hold up, Jonnu. Before you get off, let's just take a picture real quick with all of us in the camera shot real quick. Hold up. Thank you, brother. Appreciate your time,
buddy.
bro.
I love y'all boys, man. Bet that.
Hey, love you too, brother. Thank you. God bless.
Well, that was fucking cool.
That was really cool.
That was really
I
cool.
learned a lot, that podcast. Besides Jonnu, I learned pretty much that Bud has a Mount Rushmore of white quarterbacks. He ain't named Doug Williams. This man ain't named...
respect all of them.
Hold on. This man ain't named...
do that.
Hold on. I got to do it to you. I got to. You didn't name Doug Williams. You didn't name Russell Wilson. You didn't name the GOAT.
Russell Wilson is definitely not in the top 5. Not in my top 5.
Okay, but anyway.
I'm going off of my own top 5.
This guy. You had Patrick Mahomes. This man named all these white quarterbacks.
I'm going off of my top 5.
This man said Brett Favre, which arguably is
just so everybody knows, since he doesn't think I name a black quarterback, I went to an all-black high school down here, Dillard High School. Only white person on the football team.
I know, you told me.
So let's not get into that type of card. I 100% respect every quarterback that's ever played this game. I think that there's a bunch of GOATs. You can name Michael Vick. You can name Lamar Jackson in today's world. You can name Patrick Mahomes is probably the most talented person to ever touch a football. I'll give you that. But going off of my own emulations and who I looked up to as a kid, I have my top 5.
All right.
And that's what I went off of.
Respect.
I'm actually, if you just
you
look
can
up,
arguably make any top 5.
Well, you could.
It's one day it's one day it's another.
Well, that's what I was going to say to him about Mahomes. But if you just look up any top 5 on any list, not even, this is stupid, but not even to get into it. The first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 are all white. So I don't know.
It's not about the skin color.
Not at all. 0%.
At all.
0%. I guess just in that
It's all
era.
about play, who I emulated personally.
Exactly.
I think I could have a top 5 in a different day. If you said everybody in the NFL, I'm putting Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Dude, C.J. Stroud made a push last year. He had a freaking great year.
I guess the only reason I
Phenomenal
even
year.
brought that up is because I'm trying to think of who you said. There was one that I was just shocked that you
Brett Favre, probably.
No.
Troy
John
Aikman.
Elway.
Troy Aikman.
Troy Aikman, that one to me was a stretch.
I looked up a lot. So
That was the only
I wore
reason why I
number 8
said
playing
that.
football, and I looked up to Troy Aikman. I actually grew up a Dallas Cowboy fan because of my dad. And it was somebody that I looked up to with those old star jerseys. It was just something that got me going when I was a kid playing football. And if you ever seen the movie The Little Giants, the other team is the Dallas Cowboys, and it was just something that reminded me as a kid. So I have a different Mount Rushmore every year. It could be a different topic every single time. I could put a different 5 tomorrow if I wanted to.
All right.
I'm with you on that. But no, let's get back on track. That was amazing. He interviewed great. That was incredible to have him on. So.
And Zach Smackz podcast is the second media outsource I think that's even talked to him about this trade.
It's true. You told me that.
For the mainstream media.
Oh, it's incredible. You want to get into some of the stats you had, Bud, too, as well?
So, we have a lot of stats here. What are we going with? Last year, I don't have that pulled up in front of me, Zach, but last year I think he had 80-something receptions, 88 receptions.
Yep, 884 yards, 8 touchdowns.
Getting into quarterback play, you guys are Dolphin fans, right? And there's this whole debacle about Tua Tagovailoa and whether he can get it done or not. And I honestly, personally like the Mike McDaniel offense. I think they have the right weapons. I think Tyreek Hill is here and there. I think locker room wise, personally, from the outside in, I could be completely wrong about him. Don't quote me on it. Just doesn't look like a team player to me. I think that the last game against the Jets and the mic'd up saying that he didn't want to go in the game, even though it was the last game of the season, I just don't think that's a guy you can have in the locker room and think that you're going to win a Super Bowl. And going over to the hockey thing, because we're all Panther fans here, the one thing Paul Maurice talks about is the type of relationship that all these guys have with each other, right? And the camaraderie. I just don't think that the Dolphins have that right now. Not saying that they can't, but this is definitely, and I'm not the first person to say this, is definitely a hot seat year for Tua and Mike McDaniel. I think if you have Tua in the mix last year, I think Jonnu has a 1,000-yard season, honestly. His numbers were better than Travis Kelce's, and Travis Kelce was a first pick to go to the Pro Bowl. Jonnu was a backup situation, and I think he personally is a biased person. I think he should have been picked first.
That's not biased at all. I think Jonnu definitely belonged in that position.
Totally
I
agree.
think he definitely should have got selected over Travis Kelce, but obviously, as you know, the Pro Bowl is a popularity contest.
It is a popularity contest, and everything going on with, I guess, Taylor Swift and all that stuff. You can bet that that's probably going to help the media situation at the Pro Bowl.
For sure.
You get a guy like George Kittle go to the Pro Bowl, that's 100%. He's almost their whole entire offense when Deebo Samuel is hurt, right? They have, receivers that are a little bouncy. They can have really good games for 140 yards, or they can have 2 catches. Or Christian McCaffrey could have 7 receptions and 10 carries for all 300 purpose yards. I think Kittle was the same draft class as Jonnu, and I think when he got paid, I think, he thinks that he deserved more money, and I totally agree. Whether that's how he thought or not, I haven't talked to him about it. I'm just making an assumption. But I think he was worth more, and he came to the table and he called them out. And the Dolphins clearly didn't want to go that route. And like he said, everything happens for a reason. I think he's going to be a really good asset in Pittsburgh.
Agreed 100%. It feels like we make the same mistake a lot of times where we let a lot of players go and then they end up being really good on other teams. I'm sure we're not the only team to do that, but I would say that the Dolphins do that a lot more than other teams.
Sure.
I think that it was good to let Javon Holland go. I don't think that, he had a really, really regression year last year. Probably cost him a lot of money. But I'm sure he'll do okay on New York, but I agree with you on that for sure. Yeah. So we'll take it over to Brock Purdy. We have this written down here. Do you think Brock Purdy, with that big contract, is going to be able to get it done?
There's been a lot of big paydays. A lot of big paydays in the NFL. It started, 2020? I think I saw it pop up on my Instagram today. 2020, around this time, was when Patrick Mahomes signed the $500 million contract for 10 years.
Yep.
Worth it. Purdy early on, he's a blue chip guy, a Mr. Irrelevant in the NFL draft, and he's coming in and he's trying to prove a point. He came in and he took them to 2 Super Bowls? Two Super Bowls. Couldn't get it done. From the outside in, now, as a player, I never made it to that level, but I'm going to say, try to get into their shoes before you start talking from the outside.
Sure.
It's not easy to even get there. Just to even be able to play for a Lombardi trophy is an absolute dream. So I think he could get it done. Maybe this was a little, kick in the butt, but he has the right offensive coordinator. He has the right coaches around him. He has the right system. If his guys can stay healthy, I think that he could get it done. But it's definitely going to be hard. Coming out of the West, I don't really know off the top of my head what other teams would give them a competitive run, if you know, Zach.
The Chargers, the only one.
Can they get it done?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is San Francisco 49ers. It's the AFC. I'm sorry. Definitely not. Absolutely not.
You think about it. At what point, there was a point where you thought the team was just rebuilding, right?
Right.
They were scrapping all their players. You lost Deebo Samuel, right? You ended up losing Dre Greenlaw. You lost Hufanga. You lost Travarius Ward. You just thought the team was rebuilding. But I will say in itself, I think the team can remain, I would say, competitive. I definitely think they're a playoff team, obviously, right?
For sure.
And you look at Coach Shanahan. He is the guru that Mike McDaniel studies his game off of. You look at your guy out of the Rams. I can't think right now.
Sean McVay.
Okay. You look at also the Green Bay Packers. All those coaches emulate Kyle Shanahan.
They're all from the same coaching tree.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And I think if you look at, that's a huge accomplishment in itself. That Mr. Irrelevant to go to 2 Super Bowls in the span of time that
it's unheard of.
It's unheard of. So I think that team will be okay. I think they'll be okay.
I think he deserves it. I think he definitely he puts in the work. He's one of those guys,
hard worker,
lunch pail guy, comes to work, liked, good locker room guy. And I feel like, he has the right pieces around him. I mean, if you look at the early Patriots teams with Tom Brady, I mean, aside from an absolute explosive Randy Moss, they had average teams.
Mm-hmm.
If it takes the right coaching and the right mental, guys around them to accomplish that, and I think they could do it.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I was going to say, I'm not sure if this is 100% true, but Brock Purdy for $53 million a year, I would have to say, is more money in 1 year than every Mr. Relevant of all time.
100%.
Like that, how crazy is that?
How many of them actually pan out?
In 1 year.
And how many Mr. Relevants have accomplished what Brock Purdy has?
No, dude, they're hardly even in the league.
That early, too.
They're hardly even in the league. So looking at the 49ers win total here, which, Kahari, you said that you think that they may be a playoff team. I think that they won't.
Okay.
Personally, but I'm shocked that their over and under win total after all those people you named that they lost is 10.5. That's a fucking
I'm not
under.
even going to say it's a hot take that they won't make it. I think it's definitely possible that they might not make the playoffs.
11 wins?
I wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't be shocked either way, but
11 is a high line.
Dude, I mean, they have the Seahawks and the Rams in that division.
Just based on their history, though, I just think, not just history. Obviously, history changes as you lose players and you adapt. But again, like you look at a Mike Tomlin, look how great that team has been, how successful. Yes, they play, like the Dolphins to me, we were an average team. I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers do enough to play above average. That's why they're always there in the conversation.
Right.
They're not winning Super Bowls right now, right? Since Ben Roethlisberger departed. But you look at a team like the 49ers, they've been relevant these last few years.
Yeah.
I mean, the only time that they really went downhill or they had kind of some off years was when after the, why can't I think of his name? Oh, my gosh.
Alex Smith?
Nope, not even Alex Smith. Kaepernick. I'm so sorry. After the Kaepernick era, obviously he took them to a Super Bowl. They lost. They kind of went on the decline. But I would say in the last 7 years or so, they've been relevant. So I don't see them
agree
falling
with that.
off.
Yeah. And I really, Kahari, I think it speaks to the coaching, number one, because you look at a team like the Niners, they could have been absolutely cooked with what they did trading for Trey Lance like that.
Yeah.
Or trading the picks for Trey Lance. Like if they don't take Brock Purdy.
Now Trey Lance is on the CFL list.
Of course. But, dude, they don't even win 4 games is my point. It's unbelievable how lucky that general manager got. And he's a good Lynch, I think, right?
Yeah.
He's a good GM, but Trey Lance, big bust.
I think it's big with the GMs to be able to be a player guy and be able to associate with them and know what they're going through and put yourself in their shoes. And I think he's doing a really good job of that. And if you jump over to the East Coast, I mean, me and you were talking about it, like the Washington Commanders. I mean, they're absolutely loaded. And I'm good friends with KJ Osborne, and he's a new asset to that receiving core. And just talking to him and seeing what they have up there and the type of standard that everybody holds each other to. And Jaden Daniels, he's elite. And I think you put him into the category with numbers wise, like with Lamar Jackson. I think he's doing the same type of thing. And I think that he's capable, and honestly, he may win a Super Bowl before Lamar does.
Bro, they made it to the NFC Championship year 1 after winning 4 games. We obliterated
upsetting
them
the
by
Lions.
36 points.
I have 2 things to say. It's like I don't know which side to jump on because I want to jump back over to the NFC.
Okay.
But you said something about Lamar.
Okay.
Let's jump back to the NFC for a second, though.
Now I'm a big Lamar fan.
That's okay.
Played against him in high school. Know him. He's one of the best ever. I mean, feet-wise, throwing-wise, all-around football player is at an elite level.
So let's stay on the AFC. Then I'll go back to the NFC because I
Okay.
had a good point. So if we're going to stay on the AFC, I got to ask you. I saw a hot take the other day, and I want to know what you guys think. Is Lamar Jackson holding the Ravens back from a Super Bowl? How crazy. I read that. I read that and I saw it. I said, that's the craziest take. But if you think about it, all the pieces that have been there, as far as great
loaded.
defense, loaded. 2 top tight ends. I would say 2 top tight ends.
100%.
You look at that. Obviously, they've always been in question, the wide receiver. But, I like what
They
And they're rotating guys, too. They're like, it's
Bateman was
nobody's
good.
business.
And then, obviously, at running back, you have Derrick Henry. I want to know, hot take, I'm going to ask you, too. Is Lamar Jackson holding them back?
I'll tell you what's
Zach
holding
can
them
start
back.
with that.
I'll tell you what's holding back. This is a great one, but it's luck. It's luck, dude. As Bud said, I mean, he's so different, and I didn't play against him in high school, but just from watching what we've seen with him,
he holds a game in his hands.
dude, he's different.
He has the
bro.
capability to change any game at any given
He's
moment.
different.
You look at last year on how
luck.
their season ended, and pretty
Mark
sure it was
Andrews.
Mark Andrews in a drop in Buffalo in the cold.
Yeah.
Listen, there's pressure. There's always going to be pressure. On a regular Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock in the middle of the season, there's pressure. You have to win. This is a business at the end of the day. I think them going into Buffalo, which is probably one of the hardest places to play, is hard within itself. But you got to make those plays. And I think Lamar puts them in good situations. Does he do things that can hurt them? Sure. But that's anybody. Anybody can have a bad game. Anybody can have a drop. Anybody can have a fumble. Anybody can throw an interception. Anybody can miss a block.
And he's extremely
I think
durable too.
that he's definitely not a guy that's holding them back. But they're adding some guys to the mix, and I think they rotate a lot of receivers through there. And having Derrick Henry in the backfield is probably one of the scariest running duos I've ever seen. Having a guy that's 6'4", 6'3", however big Derrick Henry is, and is absolute refrigerator and can run like a gazelle. It's scary, and I think that they have the team that can do it. It just depends on if they can get through the playoffs.
Miami Dolphins are not done, by the way. I'm sorry, Zach. Miami Dolphins are not done, by the way. Mark Andrews will be a Miami Dolphin, just letting you know.
That's a hot take.
Where'd you hear that?
That is a hot take.
I don't think they're done. I think just looking at Isaiah Likely and how he's prevailed and he's gotten better each year.
I'd rather have him.
I think Mark Andrews can be on his way to Miami. But
I'd rather have Likely.
Let's jump over to NFC because I want to know what you guys think about how about them Cowboys. I honestly don't see that team.
Terrible.
Again, as loud as they are, I do not see that team making any moves. And when I say moves, I mean post-game season moves. I don't see that team doing it.
I think the Dallas Cowboys is no.
60
come
million.
on.
Doc Prescott's going to get them there?
I mean, they continue to pay this guy, and he's as insane as Jerry Jones is. They keep paying this guy more money to do nothing.
Would you not take the money?
Of course I would take the money. I would take the money to sit third string on practice squad. I would do whatever. I mean, it's money. Money's money, man. And being able to the NFL is an absolute blessing. But for a hot take for next episode, how we haven't talked about Darren Waller and the Miami Dolphins is insane.
We jumping all around.
I'm gonna. While we were going with the tight ends with Mark Andrews, the only reason I brought that up is Darren Waller was not playing for anybody, has a rap career, and is now gonna be a Miami Dolphin.
I don't hate that.
We will talk about that another time. This might be a video outside of here that we'll be putting on the Zach Smackz page for the three of us.
We're going to hop around again real quick.
Going back to the Cowboys. Going back to the Cowboys. I think they're absolutely insane, and I think insanity just repeats itself and nothing's going to change. That's where I'm at on that.
Okay. Fair enough.
I would say the exact same thing. I think that the Cowboys fans are the loudest ones in the room, even more than the Dolphins fans. This is, next year. There's no next year. They made no good moves.
Bring back Zeke. Think it's going to change. Come on.
They got people that aren't happy on their team. They haven't paid Micah Parsons. I mean, the team's a mess.
George Pickens isn't getting them to a Super Bowl.
They have two of the best receivers in the NFL. Just because you have weapons like that, you have. It's like CD says, you have a 1 and a 2 or a 1 and a 1.
I have to ask you, not to cut you off, because I feel like we're doing a lot of conversation. Right now, are you taking Tyreek and Waddle, or are you taking CD?
I'm taking CD
and Pickens?
CD and Pickens.
You're out of your mind. Then that's unbiasedly. You're out of your mind.
Yeah,
hot take.
I'm not taking.
I want to see the comments on TikTok.
I
got to see the comments on that. Forget the jersey for a second. This guy just said he's taking CD and Pickens over Tyreek and Waddle.
Yeah.
Correct.
A healthy, by the way, I'll throw in healthy clause. A healthy Tyreek and Waddle. There's no way you are.
And Pickens has not made his mark in the NFL yet. Dude.
No
I agree.
way.
He is immature. He needs a lot of growing.
And Tyreek Hill's not immature.
He is, but he's Tyreek Hill, and he was a number one.
And
player in
Tyreek's
the
a
NFL.
veteran.
Tyreek Hill was a number one player in the NFL after 2023.
100%. Pound for pound, best receiver in the NFL. 100%.
So Waddle's better than George Pickens, or no?
They're different receivers. I think that they're both threats.
Who
I love Jalen.
Who would you want as your number 2? Right now.
Who's my number 1? Tyreek? You're saying Tyreek first?
We already said it.
CD.
It sounds like you're choosing CD.
CD.
So I want to know, out of Waddle and Pickens, who are you choosing out of those two?
I'll take Waddle.
So just so you know.
I would rather have a CD Waddle tandem than
just so
Pickens.
you know, I'm taking CD over Tyreek Hill too.
Okay.
He's a threat.
I'm taking him mainly for his age, but he's so different, dude.
I agree.
He's so good. And obviously Tyreek's getting up there in age and has shown last year that he was extremely not happy, or if he is happy. One day he posts he wants to be traded, the next day he's happy. So confused on that. But I'm taking Waddle over Pickens, but I'm taking CD over Tyreek.
Fair enough.
It's a good way to end it.
Yeah, that's a good way to end it.
Debacle, a little back and forth.
We're gonna have a little sneak peek.
That's a beautiful
here.
thing about everybody having opinions.
Of course.
I love it.
That's what makes the show good. But we're gonna have a little sneak peek here. If you guys like sports bets, you guys have seen on the Zach Smackz Instagram. This is the guy I cook up the picks with, Bud. Okay, we're gonna be launching. Should I tell him more, Bud, or should I wait till the next episode?
I think it's like clickbait.
It's like clickbait, right? We're gonna be launching.
Something's in the future.
Something's in the future, but we're gonna be launching an AI all system sports picks that's going to guarantee you guys profit, but we're not going to get too much into it. We'll talk about it in the next episode. Anything else, guys, before we end?
Honored. great first episode for me. I'm honored you guys had me on. Appreciate it.
Gonna be a lot more of it. Anything, Kahari? Anything else?
No. Thank you, Jonnu, again for coming on to the show, brother. I wish
Thanks,
you the
Nunu.
best over in Pittsburgh, and I know you're gonna ball out.
Same thing to you, Jonnu. Thank you so much. Pleasure meeting you today. Pleasure seeing you this morning. It was amazing. So, shout out Podcast Junkies in Boca Raton, Florida. Best studio in Boca Raton. If you guys want to get your podcast filmed, come see my boy Ben. He's going to take care of you. And shout out, Bud, you want to shout out your company?
So I got First Do Pressure Washing, same color as little, Dolphins and stuff like that. My business partner is Terry Kirby, who's a ex-running back for the Miami Dolphins and a couple other NFL teams. And we take care of a lot of houses and commercial stuff down here in South Florida. And, yeah.
That's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, everyone. Your boy ZG.
Appreciate it.
It's good. There it goes.
I was like, I don't know.